It was a long time coming. When I imagined the first African woman who walked down the plank of a slave ship, shackled in chains, and stepping her naked feet onto a strange new land, confused and afraid as pale men barked commands in a language she didn't understand, she looked frantically for something, anything familiar. She might have locked eyes to another tribesman, her eyes pleading for him to muster the strength to break off those cast iron chains that link them, swoop her up and run her all the way back home, wherever home was. Maybe both of them toiled alongside one another on a tobacco farm or a cotton field under the blistering Virginia sun, searing their faces and hands as they both worked the soil until dusk. They huddled together on a dirt floor in a fevered, dreamless sleep. In the early hours before dawn, the pale man returns. This time, he only wants her. He grips her wrists and drags her body, bare thighs scraping against the dirt and pebbles. She looks once again to her kinsman, begging for rescue. He looks on, also frightened, but impotent to intercede, as he hears the clinking brass of the belt unbuckling and the screams of agony and violation that come after. Months or maybe even years, reliving the same nightmare over and over again. Her tribesman makes a desperate break for freedom, running miles through the mud and thorny brambles under moonlight. Hounds barking bloody murder make chase, snapping at his heels and piercing flesh. She and the others watch him as he is dragged back, his shirt ripped from his back and his arms tied to a tree. The whip slices the air as she hears the sickening thwack, thwack, thwack. The pale man calls his comrades to fit the noose and pull the rope until the fugitive's calloused feet lift from the ground as if taking flight. With her tribesman's last twitch of life, the chains that bound them break. Century after century, yet another version of the story repeats. Even when the physical chains are broken, from bloody wars and ink on parchment, the two yet remain bound in spirit as they try to build a life, learn a skill, and raise a family as second-class citizens. Somewhere in the midst of this struggle, something changes. Embittered from centuries of fear, impotence, and envy, the tribesman redirects those feelings at the only one he can dominate. Centuries of horror and distress leaves her nowhere else to go but to him. So she clings as he rages against the one who reminds him of what he is, what he was, what he was not able to do. She is steadfast through this humiliation, flaming crosses and high-powered hoses. She marches, protests, and appeals to pale men to show humanity. She focuses on the cruelty of outsiders while suffering quietly from the cruelty within. She grows her hair to the sky and pumps her fist in the air as she reaches down from her soul to speak words to power. Victories are won. A measure of justice is made, and for one golden moment, it looks like together they can win in this land that is no longer strange, but home. She celebrates the newfound power and opportunities afforded to the both of them, what they can learn, where they can live, and imagines a less cruel world for her children. But that thing between them, that demon of misdirected frustration simmers and festers. The envy and resentment of the pale man living life seemingly much easier, and his woman, whom he has always protected, has a softness that his tribeswoman does not. He seethes at the pale man, but less for his daughter. Still she clings. For her, he is all there is. There is still no time for her to rest. So much more must be done, and he vows when the last battle is won, his queen will wear her crown. Believing this ultimate promise, she grits her teeth as she looks on, impotent as he tastes the fruit of the pale man's daughters. This fruit from the poison tree causes him to see his counterpart through a lens of dirty, warped glass. He tells her he no longer loves her hair that grows to the sky because it is not long and silky. He tells her that the darker she is, the uglier she becomes. The qualities that made her strong enough to fight the hordes are transformed when these new eyes see his tribeswomen as too loud, too hard, too bossy, too mannish. She wonders why the more ground they gain, the less he remembers the promises he made that they would overcome together. He still calls her his queen, but the crown is not of precious jewels, but of the thorny brambles he first ran through to escape all those centuries before. Eons of an investment in a venture that scales have never balanced, being the receptacle of her tribesmen' anger and powerlessness, being told that it is she who is not loyal, virtuous, or feminine, has become a red rage. And words to power she once spoke for him, finally and completely, go silent. Divestment unleashes the chains that bound us. I wrote that yesterday when I tried to create a story that was more than just a chronology of facts that happened. I'm going to be expanding on this, but I wanted to share it with you because I think it really does highlight where Black women are in this whole thing. It highlights how we got here, why we got here, and why we don't want to be here anymore. I wanted to share that with you. There's more to come. Thank you, Santonia, for your super chat. Yes, it's my work. Did you guys not know I was a writer? All right, guys, I just wanted to take a moment to share that with you. I hope that it helps. And I hope that the people who are befuddled or confused about why we are where we are have a little bit more clarity. All right, guys, have a good rest of your Sunday. And if you like what you heard, pass it on.